Yes guys, what is up? Welcome back to What the Devil, episode 6. Today I've got Marcel here and Nick, and obviously me, Dylan as well. We're going to be talking about how to beat Man City, should Ten Hag go, and I want at some point to give a shout out to Andre and Anna. But we're going to start, also remember the podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to listen, as well as obviously here on YouTube if you're watching. And we're going to start with Man City. So, we just beat Nottingham Forest 1-0, thumping 1-0 win.
Yes.
No, I'm not even going to pretend that it was.
Not really.
But next, Man City. As well as, you think we might win, we might lose. But if we can win, how do we do it?
Go on, Nick, you first, bro.
In typical Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style, I'll be honest, I don't really see another way. We can't really take the game to them. Even with a full squad, I think trying to press Man City as high as, for example, we did at the Etihad where we got pumped 6-3, that was a lesson learned that day. I don't think we can really do that. We did it well at home, but even at home when we did it when we beat them last season, it wasn't, I would say, as aggressive, as high. Fred done a job that day. We ain't got him anymore. We ain't got the legs of Fred in midfield anymore. So, yeah, I would say, like I said, in typical Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style, sit back, try hit them on the counter-attack. And look, Marcus Rashford through the middle stinks most of the times. But against a high-line Man City side, maybe there is something in him. We've seen what he can do against a high line. Can he get those runs in behind? Can Bruno quickly find him and get Marcus Rashford running on the shoulder of the last defender? There could be some joy in it if we play like that, I reckon.
No, I actually agree with you. I think a pragmatic style of football is what we need. That Ole kind of performance, the way that he sets up teams, the way that Jose Mourinho sets up teams, it's going to definitely be that, a defensive line very, very deep, camped in our box, in our half of the pitch. Is Ten Hag going to do that though? I don't think he will, That's maybe the only issue, don't it?
I hear what you're saying, but I also think when you think about the Liverpool game at Anfield and when you think about the Bayern game at home, those two games when we really need a result, he did switch up a fair bit.
Yeah,
he did.
I think injuries and no Bruno in that game as well, funny enough, against Liverpool, which is kind of interesting.
And McTominay in the 10.
Yeah, which is really kind of interesting. But I do agree with you. That Liverpool performance, copy and paste it into Liverpool. We've got Liverpool again, in the cup, and for that City game. But especially for that City game, I think playing against them, machine for machine, for want of a better word, forward line for forward line, I don't think it will happen.
No.
We done that against at home, and we got smashed 3-0.
Even at home at times, I think he was trying to be pragmatic. But even
do you think so?
I don't think he was as, it wasn't as chaos as a performance as we've seen against some other sides. I don't think. Maybe I need to go and watch the game.
I think we could have won that game. I genuinely believe we should have won that game.
The penalty threw us off, and it was a soft penalty.
Oh, that was a soft penalty.
It was soft. It was
so
soft.
Yeah, that was. I don't think that was a pen.
Never
Especially considering we've seen much hard stuff. I'd say last night the thing on Rashford was more of a pen than that was.
Yeah, and it happens all the time as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's contact in the box, bro. It happens all the time on every set piece, on every corner, there's contact in the box.
I think you're right, though, in terms of that role of Rashford. In this particular game away, like, he plays better with so much space in behind, like Jamie Vardy-esque. Even though, Jamie Vardy's a bit better when his forward line's a little bit into the box as well. He can make more clever runs than Rashford. But you're definitely right. I think, having lots of, runs from deep, Bruno maybe in the team somewhere trying to play the long passes. There's an avenue for us to win.
For 100%. You know what as well? Who could be potentially key against City, based on his second half performance against Nottingham Forest yesterday, is Amrabat. Because some of the times where he was inverting, getting on the ball and playing those forward passes, something which we lack right now massively, without Luke Shaw, without Martinez, I thought he done really well in the second half yesterday. In the first half, don't get me wrong, defensively he's smelly and it's going to stink regardless. But if you stay compact, if you don't give him a lot of space to try cover, he might be able to do you a job defensively, and then every now and then invert, get on the ball and get the ball forward, because we don't have a lot of good passes out the back right now. There is no good way for us to get from defence into attack at the moment, unless you're spraying it out to Dalot and hoping that he can do something with his pace and his athleticism, but it's hard right now.
Yeah, on the kind of topic of, how to structure the team, I put a tweet out earlier just, asking, if United were to beat Man City, how could they do it? And a lot of the comments are talking about midfield 4 with split strikers. Obviously, there's no Højlund injured, and a lot of the comments are talking about split strikers with Rashford and Garnacho up top. Bruno then kind of as a 10/false 9-ish thing. Basically, letting Bruno go forward a bit. Because I think that's something United need to do more, is let Bruno be more forward a bit, because recently he hasn't. We talked about this last week. And then kind of Casemiro at the base, and then maybe like McTominay and Mainu in the midfield, or if not McTominay, then Amrabat. But basically midfield four, Diamond, more compact, more wide. But
what do you think?
I feel like that's the only way United could win, to be fair, is because we have an issue at the moment of the midfield just ends up, it's like what Carragher said, the midfield ends up being a massive space that maybe Mainu and Casemiro, or sometimes just Casemiro, has to cover for. And with De Bruyne sat there, right there,
it's trouble.
that just sounds like it could be a bloodbath.
It's
midfield four, more compact, almost give up the wide areas.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the danger there is the Brighton performance. De Zerbi found a way to pull us out of the positions when we played that kind of centralised formation with the two forwards.
It worked for the first 20 minutes, and then he figured it out.
Yeah. It's a lot of running, like horizontally. It's a lot of running outwards out to nowhere sometimes, and the ball will just come into the space that you vacated. But then, like you said, Fred, you don't have Fred, so for that KDB issue, Fred was kind of like man marking him, similar to what Herrera did against Hazard. Yeah, so we don't have that. So KDB is just going to be floating around in wide areas and the right attacking mid space, in between the spaces. So it's going to be a difficult game, but I think that's why, like you said, being compact and just being in our half, not giving them any sort of close looks at our goal from 35 yards or so. I think and utilising the counter-attack, I think we should be all right.
I think the only thing is with the split strikers is, how do you play it in terms of, are both, say if it's Garnacho and Rashford, for example, right, as the two split strikers, are both of them given the permission to try stay high up to potentially be on the counter-attack, or is it just the one? Do you know what I mean? Because the way we set up right now, you can afford Rashford to be the one person to stay up there centrally, ask Garnacho and Anthony to track back. And actually, you know what? Did want to say this as well. Everyone has the one opinion about Anthony, and it's correct. I don't feel like anyone would disagree with the opinion that Anthony's simply not good enough. He hasn't done anything at United which has looked merely good enough. But off the ball, his work is actually very good, to be fair to him. So I actually think in the City game, Ten Hag will go for Anthony, and I don't think it's the worst decision based on this game. Just to give us some legs, just to track back. He works hard. He's got that sort of like South American fire about him. He'll go into a tackle even if he doesn't win it. So I do think Anthony could play, and I think defensively, maybe there is something he can do for us. I know there's not much to go off there.
Yeah.
But I do think Anthony could start on Sunday.
So if Anthony starts, do you think then it'll be a front three and a midfield three?
It will be, but out of possession, it will look very different. And it'll almost be like everyone apart from Rashford is behind the ball.
Like a 6-1-2 or something.
So it's basically, essentially,
yeah. I just think we're going to lose and we're going to get smashed. We spoke about this off camera just before.
Yeah.
Marcel thinks we're going to win.
Yep.
Like, not even we could
right,
win,
bro.
He just thinks, you know what, we are going to win.
No,
I think we're going to get smashed.
I don't think we'll
Absolutely smashed. I think we are.
I don't think we'll get.
I'm going to get torn apart. It's giving me Liverpool at Anfield last year vibes. Maybe not that bad, but it's just I have no.
Well, why do you feel like?
I don't feel confident in our team. Yeah, we've won 7 of 9 games this year, and I do not feel like a fan whose team has won 7 of 9 games this year. Like it feels like we're always just waiting for something to go wrong, rather than actually feeling like anything could be achieved. Like, it doesn't feel like this is sustainable, our winning period, because we haven't won games by being, the better, most brilliant team who just go there, slap a team up, and leave.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that we're in that kind of situation like that?
It might just be because the last 10 years has made me not be able to trust my football team at all. But more seriously, because every win feels like it's a borderline win.
Yeah.
I haven't felt convinced by us in a long time. The most convinced I felt, to be fair, with us was against Spurs. Before, the game ended 2-2, but like the beginning against Spurs, I remember when Højlund scored early on. I was like, we look good, we look like we're on fire. And then very quickly, it kind of falls apart a little bit. One thing goes wrong, momentum switches. And that's another thing.
No, go on.
Is I think we're really susceptible to momentum changes.
Oh, 100%.
It's so, we can't seem to compose ourselves and then just be like, right, calm down, start again, back to basics, let's go again. And because we're so susceptible to momentum changes, I feel like when you're playing City, they always have all the momentum.
Yeah.
So we're then just going to get...
Yeah.
So isn't that like a quality issue of the footballer? You know, the momentum switching, you know, adversity. We were saying it, you know, since last season before, and Flex has mentioned it. You know, when we're going against adversity, we don't know how to really perform, or you know, heads drop and we concede goals. It's been a massive issue for us. So do you think maybe against this City team, when we go under adversity, you're saying we're definitely going to capitulate? But I think Ten Hag, the reason why he's evoking this kind of situation where, you know, we're going into adversity a lot of times is because we're trying to play front foot. You know, under the previous managers, we were playing counter-attack. There's not much risk in the football that we was taking. I feel like, you know, like what you're talking about Carragher before, highlighting all the spaces in the midfield. I don't think that's completely a midfield issue. I think it's a little bit of a defence. You know, all three of the lines have to be compact. Yeah, they have to understand to be compact and together as a shape in the pitch, because it's impossible to cover every single area of the pitch. You have to, the game's about space. You're going to offer them space in behind you or space in front of you. In that example, there was space in the middle, which was the issue. But the defensive line needs to squeeze higher up to squeeze that space. I just think we're playing this style of football which we weren't playing under Mourinho and Ole. Like the three lines, the midfield, the defensive and the attacking one, are in our half a lot of the time. So, you know, there's not much risk in that. These players can't play under this level of risk, you know, so when there's a lot less risk, for want of a better word, under City, because like you said, they're going to have all the momentum, the football, majority of the game will be in their half of the, or in our half of the pitch. I think that counter-attack, something that these players are accustomed to and they know quite well, under Ten Hag's structure and passing patterns, I think it could be dangerous. I do think we won't have majority of the ball, but again, under Ole's performances, did we have majority of the ball when we went against City? I don't think so. Even Mourinho, you know, he's happy with 0-0s coming out of Liverpool and City and these kind of places. So I think there's a potential to win. Definitely not with the two strikers though, and that's something that Ten Hag likes to do in his setup, even in a 4-2-3-1 against Fulham. He likes Bruno there. He likes Højlund there.
Out of possession. Bruno will basically be a second striker.
Yeah. So I think you're right. He will try and just leave one person up there in Rashi, but it can't be Rashi. I really can't be. I don't think. You know, he just doesn't love the club right now, and it's hurting me to say that. You know, it really is. But
you know what it is with Rashford, right? I still think people, that especially at the beginning of this of this year, calendar year, playing out on that left, especially the few games where Luke Shaw was there, I think he looked very good. That game against Aston Villa where he set up Garnacho as well, and I thought people weren't, because he had been bad all season, people weren't necessarily giving him the props for the few good performances he did have at the beginning of this calendar year. Like with the fingers of Rashford right now playing through the middle, he's just not that guy. Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. He will never be a striker up top. And when you put him against a low block like Nottingham Forest were yesterday and like Fulham were last week, he gets so frustrated. And you know, as a striker, right? So as a striker, you have to make 20 runs before one of them comes through. Rashford will make 3, doesn't get the ball, and his arms are up and down, his shoulders drop, his head's down. He has got that about him, but I disagree that Rashford, I think Rashford can be the one because I don't know if we have anyone else who's got the pace and power, and also, to be fair, the ability to be clinical enough in front of goal to maybe take your 1 or 2 chances that you're going to get in a game. Okay. I love Garnacho, he's not going to be able to do it. Yeah. And that's the only other person I can think of who
Scott, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Scott McTominay. I can't believe I'm saying this, Nick. I can't believe I'm saying this, Nick. I can't believe I'm saying this, Nick. But Ten Hag has had like predicaments the whole season where 5 or 6 players are not playing in the team. He has to bring somebody else in. Scott McTominay scores in the big moments for us. He's not the level he's not the level. He should still be sold, in my opinion. Same with Maguire. There's a few others in there as well. Wan-Bissaka potentially. But you know, what he's showing in terms of his nous to get into the right areas, you know, he's scoring a little bit in clinical and clutch moments. He's aggressive, he's powerful, he's strong. He showed us against Nottingham Forest. He had a collision, and shouldered the player, and he's a strong player. And Rashford's definitely not that. Rashford's not showing the runs in behind at the Jamie Vardy level. Even though you're right, his nature to get on behind is perfect, Rashford, when he's on song. But I think he delivers that from the left in this game, maybe for us. And just keeping him in where he's familiar. Whether he's going to follow Kyle Walker all the time, because he's shown us against Newcastle that he doesn't want to follow the right back all the time. He let Livramento free all the time. So whether he does, he's depression Rashford. So I don't know what you're getting from him. But Scott McTominay and the passion from the forward line, now I've got pressing. I've still, you know, I think there's just a few more elements to his game that he's going to offer that I haven't seen for 20 games, 10 games from Depression Rashford right now.
See, I agree with McTominay. See, I personally, when Højlund was injured, I would have kept Garnacho on the right, I would have kept Rashford on the left, and like you say, I would have put McTominay up top. It's not perfect, but I think that, in my opinion, would have been the best substitute. Against Nottingham Forest, again, I would have done the same. I would have kept Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right. For this game, though, I would personally go with Rashford.
I hear it.
I'll message you when Rashford scores.
I hear it. Yeah, and I'll be celebrating with you.
Hopefully,
I'll be celebrating with you, bro.
How have we ended up in a place where we're trying to put Scott McTominay up front, guys?
I don't know.
Just to reel this back in a second.
Yeah.
This is Scott McTominay, who, yes, he played striker in the academy maybe when he was 16, and he scored some goals this season when he's just kind of like crash bang wall up in the box. Kind of once we disintegrate, and then you put McTominay in, it's fine. But we can't put a structured attack around Scott McTominay up front at the Etihad against Man City. Especially if you want to play, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wouldn't have played Scott McTominay as his striker. So if you want to play an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type of football against Man City, you cannot then put him up front, Marcel.
It's got to be Rashford.
Which is why, almost just process of elimination, I think it has to be Rashford.
It makes sense, and that's why I'm saying I can't believe I'm saying it. So I can understand the counter argument. I can understand the counter argument to it.
Yeah.
But there's just a few elements that I'm seeing from Scott McTominay that could be useful, especially when he understands running through the space, attacking the spaces in beyond him as well. And Rooney, I think, mentioned it. Post match last game, Rashford's not really ruthless right now. He's not being ruthless in front of goal. Scott McTominay, for some strange reason, is, and I believe he should be sold. I believe he should have been sold last season. Even now, even though he's performing for us and carrying us at moments, I still think he should be sold. But, in terms of what we have, and that's Ten Hag's biggest issue, being able to get a winning result out of what he has right now and still trying to play his system of football, which I just don't think he has the players for. It's more for a counter-attacking style.
Yeah.
But because it's City, their superior opponent, we're going to have to show them respect, play counter-attacking. I think, having someone that is physical, a lot more physical than Rashford. Rashford don't challenge for even headers.
No, I don't like it. He don't like body contact.
Nick Rashford does not
He
travel.
don't like body contact. You know what as well, yeah? You see all that back injury and shoulder injury stuff as well. I reckon that's had a little part to play,
Yes, unfortunately. And he suffered for the club. Bruno suffered for the club as well. Apparently he's had an injury at the Fulham game, even though we lost. He was spamming a lot of shots from distance, but he looked like he was limping towards the end of the game.
Bro, he's looked about 60% at the beginning of games.
Yeah, and Ten Hag said post-match that, he suffered and he played through injuries, so did Varane. But you're right, Rashford under Ole, shoulder injuries. I think even last season, we played about 60 games or so. Demanded so much from the body.
And he basically played every single game. He had to play every single game.
I have huge respect for him, but when he's in this mode, I don't know. It just hurts me to say it. He's got number 10 on the back for the club and doesn't want to do anything. Rooney used to run and sacrifice the whole game. Injured, whatever. He's not doing it.
I hear your frustrations.
Yeah.
I can't lie. I do hear your frustrations because there are times where, bro, like Garnacho and Anthony, they're always running.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, Anthony. I've got my opinions about Anthony, but
Garnacho.
Yeah, of course, we all love Garnacho. I didn't think he actually played that well yesterday against Nottingham Forest, but nonetheless, we know like Garnacho. He's a brilliant player. But Rashford, sometimes it does just come down to he's not bothered, and he just in certain scenarios and I don't know why. I can't really put a finger on it. Like, how do you really explain that? You can't. We don't know what's going on inside his head. We don't know if he still has, like I said, issues with his back, issues with his shoulder. One thing I have often thought about Rashford is, if you want to play a really intense, high-pressing style of football, Rashford, in my opinion, could never do what, for example, Mane done for Liverpool. I don't know if he's got that in him to keep sprinting, keep going at his opponents for the full 90.
He used to. Sorry to cut you. Number 39, Rashford, used to run.
But we didn't press like high intensity press then.
That's true.
Because that was like Mourinho.
Yeah.
That was Lou Van Gaal / Mourinho.
Yeah, but they always used to get him to work hard.
He did always work hard. He did always work hard. But I mean, I hope I'm wrong. But I haven't seen the evidence to tell me that in the ideal way, which Erik ten Hag has talked about, he wants to be the best transitional side, etc., which obviously does include a lot of high intensity counter pressing. Yeah. I don't know if he's got that in him. When I see Garnacho and he's absolutely grind into it, even when he's gone to get into the opponent's face, he's lost it. They've gone ahead of him. He's tracking back. I don't see that in Rashford.
Yeah. Right, what do you guys think? Score predictions?
2-1 Manchester United Football Club.
I'll match. I'm gonna. Yeah.
I
Let's
was
see.
going to go like 4-0 City.
Don't blame me.
Oh, okay,
I
because
want to
they
be
will.
optimistic.
No, because they will score then, and you're most probably right, and they might score more than it's Haaland. So 3-2 Manchester United Football Club.
You're going to be an absolute That's a classic
3.
game, that.
Alright.
3-2, what, Scott McTominay winner.
Yeah.
87th minute.
Yeah.
Diogo Dalot cross.
Yes.
Shout out to Diogo
Dalot,
Dalot.
man. I love him.
I think he's been fantastic this
I love
season.
him.
Yep.
But we're going to move on now.
Yes.
So obviously, every week on this podcast, we play a bit of a game show. I sit in my bedroom at like 10
Thinking
p.m.
of
on
the
a
games.
Wednesday night thinking, oh no, I've got to come up with another game now.
That's good.
So this week, we're going to do a game called Fill the Blank. You should have here you go, Nick, this one's for you. You should have one behind you as well, Marcel.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read out a sentence, and one of the words is going to be blank. You have just to fill in the blank, and obviously there is a correct answer on each one.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then keep a little tally of which ones you get right, and
Yes.
we'll see who wins at the end.
Should I call it out or just write it
So
out?
write it down, then I'll say 3, 2, 1, show, and then we'll read your answers.
Oh no.
So, first one. Manchester United's first non-British manager was blank. It's also on the TV behind you if you want to look at it again.
Non-British manager. Ooh.
I'll give you like 20 seconds. The day that I have to do one of these
You
game
know
shows, I
what?
know I'm going to stink it up so badly.
It's not, but
Right. 3, 2, 1.
I put South.
Sir Alex Ferguson, who is Scottish, so therefore British.
Oh.
And Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal is correct.
I knew it.
I was
know what?
surprised at this.
I just thought Sir Alex Ferguson was there for so long that before Sir Alex Ferguson, it wasn't that normal to get foreign managers
No.
in. It was
Yeah.
usually British, so I just thought,
First British manager,
nice. there we
non-British
go.
manager, Louis van Gaal. Second one. These players have made 35 appearances for United this season, and there's 3 blanks.
35. Is that all the games we played? Oh, I'm not going to say too much. 3 of them, yeah, okay, so.
35 football matches. That is brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
There's only 3 I could.
That's brilliant.
Right, I'll give you a point for each one you get right.
Oh,
for this.
thank you very much. I need
Right.
points on the last
So 3 players have played, and that is the most for outfield players this season. It's Garnacho, Bruno, and Dalot.
Wait, it was only outfield? Wait, how much has Nana played?
36.
What'd you get?
Varane.
Yeah.
Right. So for audio
I got 2 of them, I
listeners,
got 2 of them.
Marcel's put Varane.
Who was injured, bro.
How have I not got Garnacho or Dalot? Dalot's been
Garnacho's played
consistent.
23 games in a row.
Oh, it's in a row. I thought he started 20.
No, he started 23 games in a row. Sorry, yeah.
Right,
So
okay,
he started.
okay.
That's
United,
even
like,
brilliant as well.
Since November 1st.
That's brilliant.
I'll take
Yeah.
the 2 points.
So 2 points,
I got 1.
1 point. Right. Next one.
Yeah.
This is a quote.
Okay.
My greatest challenge was knocking Liverpool off their effing perch. Blank.
Oh, easy.
No. Look, I'm going to give you a quick hint.
Wait, what?
It's the end of the quote. I'm not asking who said it.
Oh.
What did he finish the quote with?
Oh. Okay,
He is
okay,
Sir Alex
okay,
Ferguson,
okay.
just for anyone who...
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wrote this. I was all happy with myself. Like, oh, I've got this.
This is the first part of the famous quote. There's a second bit.
The comma is throwing me.
Give it another 10 seconds.
I don't know. I knew Saf said it, so I just done the same thing, I think.
I don't know.
Right. So, Nick's put LOL.
I'm gonna say I'm for winning.
It was either that or pass.
Winning.
And Marcel's put winning. The end of the quote is, and you can print that.
Oh, I would never have got that.
That's like this. That's the whole part of the famous quote is he said it and he allowed them.
Yeah, so much control over the footballing world.
The media as well, the journalists, yeah.
Next one. Class of 92 player blank played for Man City as a kid.
Oh, I know this. I know this.
I don't know.
Don't know where I saw this. I think I know where I saw it actually. Yeah.
You got your answer, Marcel?
Yeah,
Do you know?
I have, yeah.
Right. Nick, you've put Ryan Giggs.
I'm gonna
Marcel, you've put... No,
put-
don't rub it out. Who have you put? Just say it.
Nicky Butt.
It was Ryan Giggs.
Pretty sure I heard Gary Neville say it. I think it was in the David Beckham documentary.
Yeah.
That he was mentioning how all these people are coming in, and then that Ryan Giggs
Giggs
from
was from City, yeah.
Baller.
Right, blank is United's 5th top goal scorer of all time with 157 goals.
Ooh, 157. He's 5th. Oh, I don't know, you know.
Let me put someone else just in case.
About 5 seconds.
157. It's not him, but I'm gonna guess it anyway. I don't think it's him.
No, I can't. Do you know what?
You've put Cristiano Ronaldo. Who have
Is
you
it?
put?
I've done a disservice to Bobby Charlton, but I've done Bobby Charlton and Van Nistelrooy. It's one of them, but I don't think it's
It's not-
Bobby.
it's not
Bobby
Bobby.
played bare games and he scored way
Bobby
more goals.
is second.
Second.
Yeah. So it's
Bobby's
Ruud Van
second.
And
Nistelrooy.
5th
Wait,
is...
Ruud.
Is it?
George Best.
Oh,
Best.
Fair.
I think Ruud Van Nistelrooy wasn't here long enough to score 100.
Nah, he was only here for
goals.
like 4. How many did Ronaldo get then? He was near
I don't know.
100 and something.
He stopped 10.
He got
I think.
1 point.
I don't
100
know.
or something.
Right. Blank have more all-time Premier League points than Manchester United.
Wait, say that again. Oh, actually, sorry.
Blank have more all-time Premier League points than Manchester United.
That's a big achievement. That's
someone has more than us.
Yeah, that's a great achievement, by the way. That's
Are
not
you
even a
sure?
joke. That is a serious achievement.
Can't be.
Remember, this is just a sentence. It's basically just a fact.
But it's true, right? It's not like you're
Yes.
playing us here.
No, I haven't just lied. Blank. So all you got to do in that sentence is fill in the blank.
Literally. I'll go. Look, this is what I'm gonna go.
Oh.
I don't want to, but this is what I'm going with.
Oh. I don't think it's them. But I don't know, man. It was either them or the Scousers.
Marcel, what have you put?
Liverpool. As a
Liverpool,
Newcastle.
Arsenal. The answer is no one.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I knew
That's how I thought. Give me my
All I
point.
said was you got to
Give me
fill
my
in the
point.
sentence.
Give me my point.
No,
Because
all
you can't
I
help it.
said,
Bro,
all I said
fill in
was
the
fill in
blank.
the sentence.
Yeah.
That's so
Not here, not here.
We both sat here like, hold on, someone's got more
Yeah.
Premier League points.
Shocked.
No, no
Yeah.
one knows.
Shocked. Shocked.
You throwing us.
I thought Newcastle could have been a
That's what I
shout.
said.
That's it.
Fill in a statement. Fill in the sentence. It's a statement of fact. No one has them.
Yeah. Facts.
Right. This is another quote. That little boy was screaming for United, said blank. Now that is a famous quote.
Oh, is it? Should I know this?
Yes, you should know this.
Should I leave?
I don't know.
And don't come back on.
When like what era is this?
Yeah,
in?
give us a time frame.
Yeah, give us like an era.
In the last 20 years.
So we've been successful.
And not
This is
successful.
famous. Yeah, and not successful.
And not successful. That little boy.
I know the comments know this, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
All of you lot know
I'm gonna get
that.
roasted, innit? I'm gonna get roasted. I don't know, man. Let's just say.
5 seconds.
Let's just say.
It's a commentator, I think. You know.
Oh, that's smart, you know.
Right, go on. Final answers.
I don't know, man. Mourinho. I don't know.
You've gone with Mourinho.
I'm gonna
it's
go
like a
South
Marcel,
just to
who
be
have you gone
safe.
with?
South again. Sir Alex Ferguson.
Is Robin Van Persie.
What?
You've got to know this. It's when he signed for United, he said that the little boy inside him was screaming to sign for the club.
Yeah.
It's a really famous quote from him.
Yeah.
You know why I'm an idiot? You know why I'm an idiot?
Do you
I
want to
started
give me
thinking like, quite literally, like someone in the crowd. Like my thought was like, what if there was like a video of Marcus Rashford when he was younger, and he's screaming for United?
No,
That's
no,
what
I thought it was like
No,
a famous
it's about
goal.
it's about when Robin Van Persie signed, man. That's what he said about United when he signed. He's like, this is why I signed for them.
Go ahead.
I'm just an
Right.
idiot, bro.
Only Marcus Rashford has more goals for Manchester United than blank in the current squad.
So no one else has more goals than this one person.
Only Marcus Rashford.
It's gotta be.
He's a bagsman in the team. Who's that? Wow.
It's gotta be.
I'd like to know who that is.
I think I've got this right. I don't want to look at
But
idiot
this
one
could be like a trick question now. I'm ready already.
Right, who have you put, Marcel?
Sir Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes.
Sir
You've put
Fernandes.
Anthony
Martial.
Martial. It is Anthony Martial.
Thought so.
This guy never plays.
Yeah, but he's been in the club for like 10 years, man.
Oh my.
You know what? It's mad to think about Martial being there since 2015.
He never plays. He needs to get some.
Last 4 years, we've barely seen him.
I still remember when the first reports came out about us signing him towards the end, like right towards the end of the winter. I was like, who is this kid?
Oh, he scored a brilliant
I was
first.
like, why have we spent 36 mil on this kid? And then he scored that one game against Liverpool. I was like,
didn't
I know, I can see it.
Yeah.
Bro, that whole first season
Bottom
we could
corner
see it.
Liverpool.
That whole first season he was electric. Yeah.
Right. Blank has the best win percentage of all managers post Sir Alex Ferguson at United.
Jeez, my man. I'm ready.
You're such a fanboy, man.
Yes.
Eric Ten Hag, well done.
Ooh, that's a mad one, you know.
He achieved it last night because he was level with Mourinho, I think, before last night's win.
See, special one.
Miro.
He's even more special.
Ten
Casemiro.
Hag's 100th game against City.
Was it? Oh, it's going to be. Yeah,
this
it's
one
gonna be.
coming, this 100th game.
Special
Right,
as
Because
well.
we played so many last
Yeah,
year.
last one.
Yeah.
Omari Forson is the first teenager to assist another teenager in a Premier League injury time winner since blank.
Saw this the other day. When it happens.
So who's the teenager? I'm gonna guess.
Who did he assist? Oh, he assisted. Wait.
To assist another teenager, I missed out a word.
I just remembered.
Wait.
No, I know who he assisted.
Oh, yes. He
I know
assisted
who-
Cobby, innit?
No, he's assisted Hoyland, I think.
No, Cobby.
Is it?
Cobby, because Hoyland's not a teenager.
Johanna's not a teenager, man.
He just turned 21, innit?
Right, who's your answer?
My answer was gonna be Rashford. Since when Rashford was a teenager.
So you going Rashford?
Yeah, go on. What was
it?
it?
It was Ronaldo.
It's
and
Ronaldo,
Mazza.
well done.
What
Yeah.
am I talking
So
about?
that, when Cobby scored against Wolves,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the first time a teenager had assisted another teenager in an injury time Premier League winner since Ronaldo assisted Rooney at Anfield in like 2005.
And that's all of Premier, not just United.
I think that's all of Premier League. to
Yeah,
be
all
fair.
of Premier League
nuts.
stat. That's
That's
crazy.
nuts.
Crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, so you got
6.
6 points for Nick and Marcel.
I got 2.
2!
Yeah.
You know what? To be fair, I started off well, but it
Out
went
of
off
12.
track. It went off track.
Yeah, you
got
started
2.
well, then I just screwed you guys over.
Yeah,
with
you
the
did. I want a point for the
No,
early
you're
one.
not getting a point for that.
Alright, I'll take 6. I'll take 6.
happy
I'm
with
not
But
too
so,
bad.
you know, talking about Ten Hag having the highest win rate of any manager since Sir Alex Ferguson,
Yeah.
this is a topic that I really want to get into. And I know we definitely have differing views on this, Marcel.
Yes.
Should Ten Hag be sacked? Basically, should Ineos sack Eric Ten Hag? I'll start with
You
my
two got,
opinion.
yeah, you two have
And
opposing
so-
opinions.
The thing I think about this is Ten Hag is not our worst manager. I don't think post Alex Ferguson as purely a manager. I think he's personally a good manager overall. But right now, apply context to the whole situation at Man United. There's Ineos wanting a fresh start, Sergio Ratcliffe coming in. There is a lot of instability, blah, blah, blah. I think if Ineos want to have a full reset at the club, which is clearly what they're doing, you know, kind of clearing house at the top end, bringing whole new people in, I think they may as well change the manager as well. Because, in my opinion, Eric Ten Hag isn't someone they would employ if he wasn't at the club currently. So why would they keep him?
Why do you think that they wouldn't employ him?
It's hard to explain,
Yeah.
which isn't great for a podcast. But I kind of feel like Ten Hag isn't the kind of person they would go for as if they were, let's say there was no one in the position right now. I feel like, you know, because they've been linked with other names such as Graham Potter. There's been stuff about De Zerbi, etc. as well.
Far away.
I am not saying we should bring Potter in, but just there are other
there's
names
links.
of more that ilk
Yeah.
than someone like Eric Ten Hag. So why would there is no easier excuse almost to sack him than there is right now, because it's just part of the general clear out. That's kind of, this is with full respect to Ten Hag of being a good coach and ultimately stuck in a bad situation. Slightly which he dug himself, slightly because of the injuries, but then you can argue the injuries were caused through Ten Hag and pre-season tours, etc. That may not have been his fault either. Anyway, I'll stop waffling.
A full reset,
But
basically. Is that.
basically, if Ineos are going for a full reset, they may as well go for a full reset.
Right.
And bring in someone new from scratch to work from scratch with all the new people they've brought in from scratch.
Okay. Do you want to go to the opposing opinion?
I don't mind. Okay, well, I think they should keep him on. I think Ineos as a institution have only bought 27.7%. They have to prove that they can, implement sporting control properly, which means, for 10 years we haven't had anything above the manager. They have to prove that can work. Omar Barada and co. I really hope it's Dan Ashworth and that he's able to get somebody else that's maybe more expertise in terms of the academy and that kind of side of things as well for him. But in terms of purchasing talent, Dan Ashworth is there, especially at the affordable price, upside potential, all these kind of things. And the style of football that Omar Barada, the school that I think he comes from, Man City school of thought anyway, and maybe his job's beyond then, that's possession-based football. Eric Ten Hag plays possession-based football. Ten Hag's spoken already before previously in presses saying that, he can work by himself and he can work in tandem with a director of football, sporting director and these kind of things, CEOs. So he's got that capability, Overmars and Van der Sar is something that he's worked in tandem with. I just think, a new manager coming in, by the way, I can accept if Manchester United Football Club and the people in control of the sporting direction, Ineos, if they want to change things, I can accept that. I've been saying it for a little while that Manchester United is like a failing shop, and if I had purchased the shop, then I would change everything, including the manager as well. I can understand that, but there's a little bit of wisdom that we missed last time under Ten Hag. Ralph had given him the blueprint. He had said that open heart surgery was needed. We had seen the signs already from Mourinho that we're not football. Our football heritage is 5th place right now. We are a 5th place team. We are a 4th place team. That's what we have been doing for the last 10 years. Nothing.
Mourinho said it best.
He's already given us these blueprints. So, another thing that we are as well, a team that changes manager every 2 or so years and falls into that exact same cycle again. So there's a potential for the exact same thing happening, just with a new sporting direction. They have to prove that they can upregulate the quality of the squad. If they get a new manager in, does that new manager have to then assess the whole squad again? Does that take another season while he gives Scott McTominay a chance to prove his level? Maguire another chance to prove his level.
Does Sancho get another chance?
Yeah, does Sancho get another chance? And he's shown something that Maguire and Varane haven't shown in the sense of professionalism. He's shown lack of professionalism, should I say? His issue was a disciplinary issue. Maguire was told he was surplus to requirements last season, and look at him now, flourishing and try to up his level to be good enough, just about to play on the halfway line. He's still not good enough, and he still should be sold, and it was still a bad purchase from the board and the structure above Ten Hag, but he's shown professionalism. That's what you want from a footballer. That's what you want from a Varane. They had a little bit of a confrontation, supposedly, Varane and Ten Hag, but he's shown the maturity and performs. He performs, one of the best in-box defenders. It's been United District covered this, So we need to give Ten Hag time.
Yeah.
And I think, the injuries have been horrific. He's 5 or 6 players, starting players that he can't utilise in almost every single game. And he has to find new solutions, so he can't play the front foot football. And then he's got a load of footballers that just can't play on the halfway line or front foot football anyway. Ineos' job is to get footballers in that can do the job that the manager wants to do. And also at the same time, Sir Jim, Omar Barada, and a conversation with Ten Hag, what footballer do we want to invoke on going forward? When Ten Hag came into the club, there was a situation or a contract on the table for both Rashford and Bruno. That alters your style of football that you're going to embark on going forward. You have to play direct football then, because you've got those 2 style of footballers, the Rashford and the Bruno. That wasn't Ten Hag's choice. It was already it was almost ordained before he comes in. Bruno had done the previous work from the last season. We're going to give him a new contract. And Rashford goes and has his world-class purple patch under Ten Hag. So it just seals the deal that he gets the new contract. Yeah. The price point of in which they get paid at, is that Ten Hag's fault? I wouldn't want to blame Ten Hag.
I wouldn't even say Casemiro's signing was really properly down to Ten Hag. The negotiations of it, the wages of it. I
mean, his lack of efficiency, holding and harbouring onto an Anthony, that's clearly not good enough for this league. A massive issue with Malacia, unfortunate. A massive issue with Mason Mount, unfortunate. A massive issue with Højlund, purchased injured, unfortunate. A massive issue with Amrabat, purchased injured. Not really the calibre as well to a degree, but showing sometimes level, unfortunate. Martial, never available, unfortunate. Just all these problems, but when he gets the team working, he can win and show and compete against the top sides, I think.
But he barely has shown that. If you think of all the stats about our long, the whole we don't beat top 9 sides away from home.
Yeah.
How can it's hard to claim that he's able to beat all these top sides and compete with these top sides if we keep losing both away from home and sometimes at home to these top sides.
Yeah.
And as much as you can blame injuries, blah, 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 I think that the injuries he has a big part to play in the injuries, Ten Hag.
With training.
Yeah. But he even said it. He said Højlund's injury was unfortunate due to high intensity training levels. It's basically what he said when Højlund got injured.
Yeah.
But just like we don't win enough against these top sides to be able to claim that he can, because it becomes hypothetical. You go, oh, if he did have these players, he could. But simple fact is, I just don't see it. And like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the City game, I never feel confident. Yeah. I never feel like we've actually just, dominated a team.
Yeah,
Forest are in a relegation battle. I know it's an FA Cup quarter-final is a different thing.
Appreciate
but they're in a relegation battle. We should be beating them with ease.
Yeah.
I never feel confident.
I understand, and I think football heritage. That's when football heritage comes into this. Especially when you talk about us not beating the top six, and I understand it as well. But we've never been a team over the last 10 years to destroy the top six or compete or get near them. That's why we haven't won any trophies. That's why we haven't won any Champions Leagues. So we've never really our new version of who we are as a club. We need to recalibrate who we are now, and even going the upward side. So these players are not good enough to reach the top of the hill. They're just not. We've seen it for too long. So that's why we don't feel confident as a starting point. And then when we try to play a front foot style of football like Ten Hag's trying to do, he's trying to take so much risk now, even with these players that we knew that weren't good enough when they used to play a counter-attacking style of football. So now we're trying to play in the opposition's half all the time, more risk in behind us. It's like Ten Hag's just trying to fast forward the process. He's trying to move us forward into. So now we can just see all the problems. Maguire's not pushing up. Herrera's free in the 10, and Kobe's got all that space in the middle. He had to go and he had to do the press, the turnover. So he's over there, but there's someone in behind. Do we have a player that can step in? I think it was against Brentford where Ten Hag talks about he wants the defenders to step in. He wants them to be proactive, and that means gauging the distance and being happy to make a 10-yard run into no man's land, which is what he kind of done against Traoré, but he gets beaten for pace. He gets beaten for power against Traoré. I'm talking about Maguire when he does that, and he's in the opposition's half doing the principles of Ten Hag, but he's not capable of doing them. We saw that last season. That's why he was banished to the bench for so long. Again, professional, didn't complain too much, and I think he had an issue outside of football, and then gets back into the team. But I just really think, we're the reason why people are so worried about, the team right now is because they're focused. They still think we should be challenging for titles, or they thought at the beginning of the season potentially we should have been coming first or second, or Champions League. And then people say style of play. There's an issue with we don't have a style of play. I think we do. It's just the footballers can't execute it. And that's maybe the issue.
See, for me, I would say, all right. So say if you want to get rid of Ten Hag, off the top of my head, I would only really want Robert De Zerbi or Julian Nagelsmann. There isn't really too many managers out there that I think we could get, especially with Barcelona needing a new manager, Liverpool needing a new manager, Bayern Munich needing a new manager. It's going to be a competitive market this summer. And when I say Robert De Zerbi and when I say Nagelsmann, a lot of the things that I like about them are very similar things we said about Ten Hag a few years ago. They have a good ideology. They want to play a front foot style of football. It's attractive football. And they're managers who have somewhat proven themselves. So we said all those things about Ten Hag 2 years ago. He's come in, and I must say, first season, none of us would have predicted or expected us to do as well as we did last season. Yes, there was the 7-0. Yes, there was the 6-3. There were bad moments, and there was moments where Erik Ten Hag was naive, 100%. But no one would have sat here and said that for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson, a manager is going to come in, win a trophy, and get us top 4 in the same season. No one has done that since coming to Man United. So there's that point. There is also another point, and I said that he was naive in some games. I still feel like in the way that he's trying to set us up to play, he's being naive. If I'm being honest, even if we had a full squad, I don't think we can execute this style of play that he is currently trying to execute. I'm talking Lisandro Martinez is there, Luke Shaw is there. It would be much better, don't get me wrong. We wouldn't have some of the Champions League performances that we had. It would be much better, but it would never be perfect. It would always be chaos. It would still be frantic, because I still look at, for example, I love Lisandro Martinez, but I also think when he has some big spaces to cover, he's not always perfect. I love Varane, but I also think in a high line, he's got his weaknesses. I love Luke Shaw, but he's not the quickest either. So I don't think even if we had a perfect squad, a fully fit squad, that we could play the exact style that he wants to play right now. I still think we have some way to go. I think as well, from now until the end of the season, he needs to be very, very careful with how things go, because if we get knocked out by Liverpool in the FA Cup, and if we have a few losses in the Premier League, and there is nothing left to play for, we've seen this group of players down tools before. We've seen their heads drop. For example, the Ralph Rangnick season, bro. When we lost against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, that was it for half the players, bro. Their heads went, bro. After that, it was not the same. So if we're to lose a few games in the Premier League and we're out the FA Cup, Ten Hag is in serious trouble. But I think from now up until the end of the season, listen, it's not going to be perfect. We're talking about McTominay playing as a 9. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
It's going to be messy games. They're not going to be perfect matches. I've said it time and time again. If we get performances, if we get results, even if he doesn't get the top 4, but there is promise there, I would keep him, because in the last 10 years, the issues, bro, Jose Mourinho is a great manager who could have been very successful for Man United, bro. He had idiots working for him. He had people that had no idea what to do in negotiations, bro. Alexis Sanchez, 400k a week. We have idiots negotiating our deal. I heard a story recently. Who was it? I don't know who I heard this story from, but Hakimi this was before he went to PSG, right? Top player, Hakimi, right?
Yeah. We need him.
He's gone to Tottenham grounds. Oh yeah, the Pochettino sat him down. Whatever you think of Pochettino, he's quite charismatic. He's a good character, right? Sat him down. Oh yeah, this is the stadium. This is the training facilities. How you doing? Welcoming, bro. Hakimi comes to Old Trafford to check out, training facilities and stuff. We send Matt Judge, right? Who asked him what his first name was and how many caps he had for Morocco.
Sick.
That's what we're dealing with at the top right now. So I think I get what you're saying about the full reset, and I think if it really goes badly from now up until the end of the season, I get where you're coming from, and maybe that is the best way to go. But personally, I would keep him, because I think the problems are at the top, and I think what we saw from him last season proves that he can do it, and he needs a bit more time, like Arteta has, for example.
The one thing I'd pick up from that, though, is you've both mentioned that the players aren't good enough, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, 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 you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and in terms of Ten Hag's, to a certain extent, suffering from the fact that some of his players just aren't good enough to play his football. But why are we then, why do we have to have a manager whose style of football depends on pretty much having like the top 1% of players technically? His Ajax team, right, which was a fantastic, brilliant team to watch, so much fun, and I loved watching them, had the technical ceiling of just absolute brilliance.
Yes.
Admittedly young players, but they were absolutely fantastic. It was just so much fun to watch. Whereas at United, I'd say man for man, have a overall better squad than that Ajax team, but it's not the type of football.
It's not at all.
It's not the type of players who would work in a Ten Hag system.
No.
Yeah.
So why would we have a manager that requires such specific things for success, whereas some of the other managers who have been so successful of late, let's say basically just Klopp and Guardiola, were able to make such fantastic teams out of what they had. Like Guardiola got 100 points with Fabian Delph at left back or something like that.
Yeah.
And realistically, and Klopp's had James Milner in midfield getting 9 assists in a Champions League winning season, and we have, who I think on paper, take away context, are very good players, but Ten Hag's needs without Frankie de Jong, suddenly our whole thing collapses because we didn't sign Frankie de Jong.
Well, Ericsson sort of tried to fill in what that de Jong.
And to me, that's a bit of a red flag. If a manager needs such specific requirements in order to be successful, and I just think that's not how we're going to be successful.
Pep needed it. Klopp needed it. In their first seasons, they weren't able to utilise what they had to be successful. They both failed in their first seasons. In the regard of what they're at now in their process, they failed. So they didn't win the Premier League or the Champions League or anything. They didn't pick up trophies. And then same for...
Pep was stressed the first season.
Hella stressed.
First season, remember, they came fourth. He wasn't,
He was stressed.
So, and that's because he demands perfection and that 1% of what you're talking about in his mind for his style of football. All managers have to be obsessed in this way. They need they want the most perfect at exactly what they want to implement in football, and then they dominate football with it, and then it becomes their game. That's why it's Pep's game right now. Because the way what he's obsessing over, he's got the 1% people doing it. I think Mourinho said it on an OB1 podcast. Hopefully we can get Jose Mourinho or Jeremy Obi Mikel to come down one day. But he said it on the podcast. Mourinho said that, you know, when you're talking about the best teams, you're talking about money. And then specifically, he was talking about Abramovich's money. That's what gets the best group of players together, kind of thing. So to a degree, we have to attribute a lot of Pep's credit to the money that he has to spend, the power to be able to get this quality in, this guaranteed quality.
He got it wrong a few times as well. He got it wrong with some players, and he was able. And he was able.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. So what I would say is, at the end of Ten Hag's process, because for me, I genuinely believe he'll be in here at least 4 seasons more. But at the end of his process, a lot of these players won't be here. Similar to what's happened with Pep, similar to what's happened with Klopp right now. But they continually need to rely on the people above them to sometimes snap their hand and say no. You know, Klopp didn't want Salah. He wanted somebody else. I think it was Julian Brandt or something. Yeah. He was a fantastic, wonderful quality player. But for this league, he maybe didn't know what was required in the league earlier on in the league. As you get further into your process, you understand, okay, the league demands energy, power, pace, and not somebody like Anthony. Or maybe not somebody like Malacia, but we haven't seen his full qualities yet. And I've seen him play a good few games against Saka. So I don't know, but he's got an injury. But his talent ID, what Ten Hag requires in his team is not Premier League standard yet, and his eye for talent for his system maybe is not perfect yet, but that's because, you know, at Ajax he was the beautiful thing about Ten Hag is he understands the pressure of having to win every single game, because that was what was replicated at Ajax. But the quality to implement into his system to be able to deliver those wins every single game is what he's having the teething period right now. And especially his in-game management, knowing when to to be more attacking in a football match or to be more defensive in a football match. But he said in presses before that he's trying to give that kind of responsibility to the players. And that's why I'm blaming a lot of the players sometimes, because he's saying that he wants them to take control of the game. He wants them to pass the ball more.
They need to smell what's going on and react.
Yeah, they don't, you know, they take so much. They have every single player, you know, 10 players in the box for a corner, or, you know, you got Anthony over dribbling when he should just pass. And it's, you know, these mistakes in press conferences, Ten Hag saying, you know, I trust these players to do it, but they're not doing it. It's not, you know.
The corner one, that drove me mad.
Yeah.
I went insane watching that, where we were winning and we pushed that many men forward.
Yeah.
That one, though, I will say, I'm surprised that Ten Hag and his coaching staff aren't absolutely screaming at the players, what are you doing? Get back in your back line. Maguire, where are you going? Pass short corner and keep it in the corner. Why is that not being addressed?
Tactical freedom.
Maybe, yeah. But another thing I will say about Ten Hag is the two things which you talked about there. One, the talent ID. I would relieve him of a lot of the you know, recruitment responsibilities that he's had so far. But having said that, two, why has he had the amount of sort of responsibility and the freedom to sign all these players? In my opinion, it's because we have no idea what we're doing to the extent where Ten Hag's come in and we've gone, right, who do you want? Who you want this guy?
Yeah.
Right, sign him.
That's not happening.
Do you think Pep Guardiola was watching the French league last season going, oh yeah, Jeremy Doku, I want him? You aren't watching Jeremy Doku. No. There's people in place who said, yeah, Doku's good for your system, he'll work. Ten Hag hasn't had that good system in place. So the Anthony signing, for example, it's near the end of the window. We haven't brought in a striker which he wanted. We're talking about Hakbo and some other players. The Anthony one was... It felt a bit of a panic signing in the end because we spent like...
It's a panic payment, I think.
Panic payment,
we wanted him for the whole summer, but we kind of just went, oh, you know what, fine, we'll have it. Yeah, to be fair, I get that. Yeah. And if there is a scenario where Ten Hag gets stripped of a lot of his responsibility and is basically just, he becomes head coach rather than manager. And
that's what we need,
yeah.
That, fine.
Yeah.
But it's...
I get where you're coming from.
I just feel like going back to my original point. Yeah. If you're going to reset the whole thing, including whoever's in charge of putting the 11 on every day. But if the best situation ends up being that Ten Hag stays and his responsibilities are stripped, I wouldn't mind that.
I've got a question for you then, because I understand the mindset, and it's a very logical one as well for me as well, because I'm happy that Sir Jim's come in and he's changing the dynamics above, it's in terms of the Glazer ownership, but. If it fails, so say he changes everything this season, or immediately even did it. If it fails next season or in 2 seasons, do we have to change it again or do we stick? Because that's where I'm at with this whole Manchester United Football Club, love for the club. I'm at a place where I want a manager to embark on fully laying out his plan and getting and being able to up-regulate the quality of footballer because he has a structure above him. I just feel like this manager already has a smell of something more, you know, than a new fresh manager coming in and looking at it, changing the dynamic. This manager has history now already. He's been here for a little while. He's suffered with the players. He's offered players contracts. You know, Ralph had that little magic. His biggest issue was he had too much ego at Ten Hag, maybe, because he got rid of somebody with a key to his system. Ralph had wanted Haaland and all these kind of quality footballers. He'd scouted a lot of quality footballers. So I just feel like he missed a trick there, and I think we would be missing a trick as a club, getting rid of him now prematurely. But what happens if it fails, Dylan? In 2 years, are we changing again in 2 years?
As in, get a new manager in and it doesn't work.
You know, a complete fresh, but we're not competing because Sir Jim says in 3 years on this current timescale, at least. I think he wanted to say more. I've said about 6 and 5 years that it would be for us to be dominating again in the same fashion that the great Saf was doing, but. You know, he says 3 years, so 3 years for us to maybe, I think, even competing. I think it was Dylan. I don't want to misquote him, but you know, getting a new manager in, and what happens in 3 years if we're not seeing what we thought we would see? You know, do we change it or do you carry on?
I think as well, it depends on who's available. So if
it is true. Like there are a lot of managers right now who aren't available because they're in jobs, and there are a lot of clubs competing for the new managers. A number of people who just aren't available, and what's the word? There's more demand than there is
supply.
Yeah,
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Yeah, I did not do a business degree, so I don't know that kind of
don't worry.
stuff. But I mean, overall, like I'm not saying Ten Hag has to go.
Yeah.
I think he should go, just for the basis of for the whole reset thing, stay consistent that way. But I'm not necessarily saying he has to go. If he does stay, fine. Because remember, this is what I overall said to you before we turned the cameras on. Was ultimately I'm still sat there and I'm just watching what happens. Like when Sir Jim Ratcliffe came in, I was asked, you know, what do you think about it? And I was kind of just like, I don't know what I think about it. Yeah. So I'm going to sit there and wait to see what happens. And now the first few months have happened, and who they've brought in, the stuff, the changes they've made, etc. I'm like, you know what, I'm really happy with that. I like it. Like last week when it was just Kane and I, we were pretty much spent the entire time raving about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, going how brilliant he is. But and on the other side of the signings, there are a couple of signings that I have liked. For example, like Andre Onana. And this is the final thing I want to say is I want to give big props to Andre Onana for the last couple of months, because since his rather ridiculous Champions League campaign, I still don't understand to this day how he did it, because I don't understand how he made that many mistakes. I just think he's become so good, and last night against Forest, I think he was fantastic. Yeah, like all the saves, you know, routine saves, but he made them all.
Yeah,
and he sat there and he was confident. And I don't know if you guys seen the video going around today. There was a video of him being chanted at by the Forest fans. I can't remember what they were shouting at. He turns around, does that, and then just gives them like a little love heart during the game. I'm just like, fair enough. I like it. I have a soft spot for keepers. I do, hence why I quite like your shirt, Marcel.
Thank you very much.
Because that's where I played as a kid, and I was the biggest De Gea fan for a long time. And
I've got De Gea
apart from like apart from the last 2 years, after the Europa League final, it's the whole other thing. But I was just I can't bear it anymore. But I do have to give massive props to Andre Onana for kind of how. I think, as it says on the screen there, Onana's slightly going under the radar. I think his form is a little underrated. Yeah. But he's now become a bit more of a rock at the back, especially with the changing back four in front of him. Yeah.
What I would say as well is like the fact that no one has really spoken about him for the last 3 months or so. That's a good sign.
Yeah,
because
that's a really good sign.
You don't want to hear too much talk about a goalkeeper. The only thing I would say about Onana, it's not a criticism of him, but it's more a criticism of us right now, is we have still not even momentarily seen the best of him. He can do so much more for us in terms of his ability to come out with the ball, because even yesterday against Forest, they weren't pressing us high, and when we have the right setup and the right players, he will show so much more of that ball playing ability and the ability for our centre backs to be higher up the pitch, and for him to be able to play with them and be an additional body in there for the two centre backs to play between 3 of them rather than 2 of them. So we're still yet to see the best of him, in my opinion. But the shot stopping is getting better, and you know what as well? You know those erratic saves that he used to make at the beginning?
He's not doing them.
He's not. Yeah. I haven't seen those. So absolutely, yeah.
I think he had the wildest settling in period I think I've ever seen. One of the wildest things from a keeper. But I think it's worked.
I'm glad that he did that. I'm glad it's that wild, because now the floor of how much lower you can perform is not there. Honestly, and I think that's the beautiful thing about Ten Hag as well, being in. And I hope that he gets a long period and a long tenure at the football club to really make the football club great again. But you know, with Onana, I'm very happy that he's come into this period where it seems to be settling down a little bit. Because again, he set the bar so low, like with all the massive performances in the Champions League, poor performances. So, you know, and all he just brought it on himself, if I'm honest. It's just been diabolical.
Oh, he did really bring it on.
Yeah,
himself.
he brought it on himself.
The Galatasaray one, I was pulling out my hair, bro.
Oh my
The
days.
two ZH free kicks. Oh my god,
days.
bro. Oh my god. But we're here now.
Oh my days. And then even basic technicals, like he still has, and Flex has mentioned it before, like every 5 games, Flex says, but I'm a bit more optimistic than him. So I'm going to say every 10 games, 11 games, you know, there will be a mistake from him, I think, you know, because of the football that he's playing. And Alisson and Ederson do make mistakes here and there, but it's so much more rare from them. But, you know, like you said, Nick, it's going to be a very much high level of football once the other players come together and we get to see his ball playing ability. We're still facing a vast number of shots. He's still having to make a vast number of saves. Like you said, though, Dylan. But like Dylan said, I think they'll run-of-the-mill ones this game. But just recently, it's been consistent, you know, and that gives confidence, I think, for a keeper. Consistently being able to make your saves, whether they're run-of-the-mill ones or not, you're making them. It builds his confidence, and hopefully we can, you know, really see some world-class performances from him. But you know, you know, what I don't feel confident about sometimes, because I know you're saying, you know, as a team, it's that Maguire or Nana. You know, they're always making mistakes in games. I don't feel confident about those two players in general. But
As in playing together.
Yeah, playing together in the same team, in the same lineup. But
It's ever since Onana shouted at Maguire in the pre-season. Do you remember that?
Against
crazy.
Arsenal, I think.
That was.
I haven't seen him do that since, to be fair.
No, but I think it was fair enough.
Yeah,
Onana's came in and he's barking orders at his centre-backs. That's what a goalkeeper should be doing. He's got a big weekend ahead of him, Onana. He's gonna
face a lot of shots.
I still think he's conceding 4.
Mate, to be fair, against Man City at home, he made a few saves. Remember the Erling Haaland header?
Yes.
I mean, I think people were slating his shot stopping too much to start with. Like they were saying, you know, David De Gea was great with shot stopping, but bad with everything else. And Onana's good with the other stuff and terrible at shot stopping. I think Onana's still got pretty good shots. It's not as good as David De Gea, because David De Gea was freakishly good.
Yeah, it was.
But
it was also just the mistakes.
And it was the mistakes. But
yeah,
he's got a big weekend ahead of him.
Yeah.
And
I think perfect for a counter-attacking system though, because he's got the opportunity, the option with the feet. He can play the passes.
His passing is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So
he's created a few chances, hasn't he? I think so far this season.
Honestly, so
there was one against Tottenham when we lost 2-0 away at home, where Kulusevski's running forward trying to get onto the counter-attack. He's cut it out and he's gone, what? Garnacho, left wing, pop. And then he started our attack.
Yeah.
I want him to get an assist.
I kind
of want him to just whack him in FPL to get those extra couple points.
Bro, I had him in my FPL at the beginning of the season with the genuine belief that at some point he would get an assist.
Yeah, it's not quite worked out so far.
We'll see.
It'll happen next season for sure, and hopefully towards the end of this season.
Yeah, I think that pretty much brings another episode to an end. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you know, any improvements or you've got any thoughts on what we said, leave in a comment below. Remember, you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And apart from that, we'll see you next week.